Mr. Montgomery, you say Ms. Parker led you to believe that you fathered her 3-month-old son, Timothy Montgomery. You say you were present at the birth, named the baby, signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
But now, Ms. Parker says, you're not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that, in fact, you are Timothy's father. Ms. Parker, you claim to be 100% positive that Mr. Montgomery is not your son's biological father because your fiancé, Mr. Lanou, is.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you say today's DNA test will finally allow you to get rid of Mr. Montgomery and allow you to remove his name from your son's birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Montgomery, why do you think you're Timothy's father?
Well, Your Honor, I believe I'm the father because, you know, I loved her. You know, me and her were together. We were sexually active, you know, and without a shadow of a doubt, you know, I just believe, you know, firmly that this is my son. You know, I mean, I was there, you know, through the pregnancy. You know, she allowed me to sit there and sign the birth certificate. And what the funny part is, she allowed me to name the son after my deceased father.
Ms. Parker, why would you allow him to do all of these things? Sign the birth certificate at that time, did you or did you not believe he was Timothy's
I thought he was the father.
You did?
Yeah, because he looked just like Mark in the ultrasounds.
So during the ultrasounds, you felt like they resembled?
Yeah, they looked just like him. And I believed that he was the father.
I had
Mark.
Well, you knew you were sleeping with him during the same window of time.
You can tell what a baby looks like.
I had sex with both of them around the same time and the same day.
I mean, you know, I've had one of these. You're talking about one of these 3D ultrasounds? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. I had one of those, and I know what you're saying when you look at the baby and you pick out features and you say, oh, so I can understand why you could say to yourself, oh, I think he kind of resembles, but there's no way that if you were sleeping with another man during the window of conception, Ms. Parker, you could say, or you could rule out Mr. Lanou.
It did bother me, though, throughout the whole pregnancy.
She's blind by the fact that she actually did love and care for him.
I did love him.
I left everything I knew in Cleveland, you know, my family. I had a good paying job that I had. You know, I sat there and, you know, left my family, my friends, everything I ever knew behind so I can go down there and be with her. So I can be the best father and family man that I could possibly be for her, her kids, and my son.
Yeah.
And you did that with the understanding, the belief that this child is mine.
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought he was the father. I believed in my heart that he was Timothy's father.
So, talk to me about how you were in a relationship with two different men.
I was with Mark, and he was always on Xbox. He wouldn't even have sex with me during the whole pregnancy because he felt weird.
So you're in a relationship, you're not happy. You feel like he's paying more attention to
I was
a
me
game
and her first met, it wasn't even like that. He wasn't even in the picture from what I've seen.
You are
He done left.
He pried on my girlfriend when I was
One
with
at
her.
a time, one at a time.
A mutual friend of mine and hers introduced us. He wasn't even in the picture at this time. She still had strong feelings for him, so I stepped back and let him come back. In the meantime, we're finding out that he's talking to her friends, talking to other women.
Right, but you prying on a woman who's with another man, right?
He's seen
I didn't. If you would have stepped up, been there, and actually satisfied her needs, you couldn't have. If I wouldn't.
Let's get some order. Calm down. You have to talk one at a time. I can't hear you. But you're not going to clown up in here. I am going to ask questions. I need to get the answers because ultimately there is a child on the line. We're trying to figure out who Timothy's father is. And what we're trying to do is figure out how we arrived at this point.
Youngin. This is a grown folks talk right here.
Yeah.
I think honestly you're more mature than Luke.
Jerome, do me a favor, please
the
stand
job.
in between.
I have a job.
Where's all this money going?
It's going to him.
No, it's
going
not.
to him. Trust and believe, my son will have what he needs.
That's funny because I'm the one down there right now putting diapers on his ass, buying formula, buying clothes.
Back and you bet on my girl, homie.
So
I asked because I had a feeling.
Before you got pregnant, you ended up with Mr. Lanou, right?
Your Honor,
So how did that happen?
Mark.
The first time he had left was the first time me and her had met. throughout the whole time.
He had
Even
broke up
told
with
him
me.
that we were sleeping together after he
no,
came
they
back.
didn't.
Yeah, he did.
He
I
used
was
to go
there.
upstairs to shower, and
No,
I'm over
they
there
didn't.
having sex with her downstairs or the same chair he's sitting in there
Yeah.
playing Xbox.
He was up there taking a
24/7.
shower.
Xbox,
He's laying sitting
right.
inside playing Xbox. Well, I got
played
her to meet me out
Xbox,
back
but yet
in
I'm
the
not
woods
registered
while
for
we're
one,
having
but
sex.
2 semesters of college.
Ladies
you're broke.
and gentlemen,
They'll use respectful
if
language.
I have to keep hitting this gavel and telling you all to be quiet, I will just dismiss the case and nobody will have an answer today. You were sleeping with Miss Parker while Mr. Montgomery would be in the house.
Upstairs in the shower. I even told him that we were sleeping together, and all he
No,
did,
you didn't.
we was
I
face to
did.
face, and all he did was walk to the stairs, sit down, and cry. I straight up told him, name a date, name a place. If you got a problem, you can square up with me any day I want
And
back
so
there.
You're
when-
a frail body who has to lie about being in the military, homie.
Mr. Montgomery, do you remember this conversation when you
No.
found out that they were sleeping together?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Were you ever aware that they were sleeping together
I had my
before
suspicions.
Timothy was born?
Before Timothy was born, no, I had my suspicions, but I had never had, concrete evidence that they was actually sleeping around.
So clearly, Miss Parker, you're sleeping with both men.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you end up in the hospital having your baby. How is it that Mr. Montgomery ends up in the hospital with you, going through this with you, when you knew it was a possibility that both men could be the father?
At the time, I didn't know it was a possibility that Lanu would have been the father of Timothy.
I'm sitting there, I'm holding him for the first time, I bring him to, her face, so she can see him because she had a C-section. I'm sitting there crying. I even told myself that, when he was born, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. Was I nervous? No, I was excited because the simple fact of the matter,
was nervous.
I was told that I was gonna be a father. And unlike most men, I was damn proud to hear that I was gonna be a father. That little boy means more to me than I can even possibly put
You act
into
like
words.
it doesn't bother me.
Miss Parker,
Where's your
at
proof?
what point do you tell Mr. Montgomery, excuse me, there was another man in the picture?
I told him, and
3 weeks after he was born?
No,
Your
that.
Honor.
Yep.
But this is because during that time, Your Honor, that he had threatened to take Timothy.
Your Honor, she
Threatened
told
her
me
knowledge
this in the
my
bed.
Take
kid.
him to
After
Cleveland.
the first
No.
time she was able to have sex after the baby was born, she waited until after we were done to sit there and
No,
tell
I
me,
had sex with
oh,
Luke before I had sex
he's,
with you."
I don't think you're the father. I think, Luke's the father. And I'm still laying in the bed with this woman naked.
That's when you decide to tell him?
Yeah, I
Yep.
was hurting, and it was hurting me. It was killing me
Couldn't tell me before?
inside. No, because I was
Couldn't
too
tell me when
scared.
he was born?
So, Mr.
Right.
Lanu, how were you feeling as Mr. Montgomery went through all of the motions, got to be at
it
the
hurt.
hospital?
It still hurts.
He named the baby after his father. I mean, he's doing the most.
I actually was going to show up to the hospital, but out of respect for her and that unborn child, refused to because I know that it would have caused a disturbance between me and him.
Oh, it would've.
I had
So
obviously
you
got
had to
into
just
it.
endure this. You knew
I didn't have
that
a
you had been
choice.
sleeping with her.
A man always has a
Did you
choice.
know as well that there was a distinct possibility that you could be this
Absolutely,
child's
Your Honor,
father?
and I even had stated to her that
I
previously
told him
on
it
Facebook.
wasn't because I didn't want to believe it.
Because she loved Mark.
I loved
she wanted
Mark
to be
at
with
the
Mark.
time.
Okay.
Right, this is when she was with me, I was supposed to be sit there and be
You-
engaged to her, and now a month, here we are about, 2 months later almost, and all of a sudden she's engaged to another man. I mean, I just don't see how you can move that fast from one man to another man, feeling, like you love a person that much, sit there and get engaged that quick. When you supposedly love me the way you say you do.
I
She
did
wanted
love
to love
you.
you. You kept giving her reasons to stop caring.
No,
stop
you
loving
gave her
You were
reasons to stop
Before
caring
we
about me.
get into an argument that leads us nowhere, I want to know who's been stepping up for Timothy.
I've been there.
Mr. Lanu.
Mr. Montgomery, you haven't been stepping up? Is
No.
that by choice?
She wanted me out.
I did.
And I granted her wish. She sat there and came to me, I told her, I was like, you just don't seem like you want to be with me no more. She said, I don't. She told me she would
Because
rather
you
be
were
with Luke
cheating.
because, no, she said she would rather be with Luke because he was the more plausible father of the child.
Yeah, I
And
did say
regardless
that.
of how bad that hurt me to sit there and leave my son behind, I sat there and I granted her that wish because I'm not going to force a woman to love me. I can sit there and try, but I mean, if it's not being returned, then what's the purpose to sit there and keep trying to make someone love you that obviously doesn't?
Your Honor,
And while I agree with that, when you believe you have a child or either a young, innocent life that could potentially be your child, just because you leave the woman doesn't mean you leave the child.
Oh, no. She called me, video Facebook chatted me on Father's Day to sit there because she goes, oh, well, on the off chance that, you know, you are Timothy's father, I thought you would like to see him on Father's Day. I respected that. You know, it made me feel good. You know, I got to see my son on Father's Day. I'm sitting there crying the whole time after I get off the phone with her because I can't sit there and look at my son without crying. I took his picture off the background of my phone because I can't look at his picture more than 2 minutes without bursting into tears. This is my son, and it was dragged away from me by a conniving man who decided to sit there and come in between a relationship.
So, Ms. Parker, if Mr. Montgomery is in fact Timothy's biological father, what then?
I will let him see him.
You'll let him be a part of his life?
I would. Just not, you know, taking him places, you know, far away.
I want to be able to spend days, weeks, months, years. I want to teach my son right from wrong. I want to pass my father's legacy that he passed on to me, on to my son, to him. And I can't sit there and do that, you know, when she's going to sit there and try to tell me, you know, how everything's going to be. That little time is going to do nothing but make me want more. And when I can't get more, what am I going to do? All I'm going to be able to do is sit there and cry myself to sleep every night, just wishing I had more.
You act like it doesn't bother me.
Let me ask you this. What other facts do you have that support your belief that this child is Mr. Lanew's?
It's just I cheated the whole time I was with Mark.
But I cheated.
You did cheat.
Okay.
It's
What?
also
I
the
did
fact that
cheat
he's
because you
tried
cheated on
conceiving
me.
children, 2 other women who, until he left, could not conceive a child.
Do you really want Timothy to be Mr. Lanew's child
Yes, I
because
do.
you want to be with Mr.
No,
Lanew?
because he is honestly more active with all 3 of my kids. I want him to be Timothy's father. He's more
Well,
interactive.
wanting and having a reasonable basis to believe he's the father are 2 different things. Do you really want to be with Mr. Lanew and you want to have a life with him? So
Even
that's
if
why
he's
you want him to
not
be?
the father, I want to be with him.
I've been there. I'm
No,
all
you
he
haven't.
knows.
No, I
Yes,
was there
he
when
has.
we first started being able to see.
I've been there since Timothy
That's
was
why
1
He was
month
1
old.
month
monkey
old.
face I would give him. That is my monkey man right there. I sat there and fed him
No, you
bottles. I
didn't.
changed diapers for him.
A few
I walked
times.
him around that complex.
One
I
time.
didn't know. One time.
One
whatever.
time.
Whatever. I have people who live in the same complex of her, Your Honor, who could sit there and vouch that they watched me walk around with my
One
son
time.
more than one time.
No.
That they watched me be outside with her 2 other kids countless other times. Because she
All right.
wasn't going out there with them.
All right, I've heard enough. Jerome, I'm ready for the results. Thank you. Will you please stand in between them for the reading of the results? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Montgomery versus Parker, pertaining to whether Mr. Montgomery or Mr. Lanew is the father of 3-month-old Timothy Montgomery, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Montgomery, you are not the father. Mr. Lanew, you are the father.
That's my baby.
In my eyes, that's still my son, though. I was there for his birth. I sat there and was there for the first month and a half of his life. Regardless of what them results read, in my eyes, that'll always be my son.
Ms. Parker, how do you feel right now?
I'm happy. Mr. Lanew is the father of my son Timothy because he's more involved with Timothy.
Mr. Lanew,
Yes.
This man,
How do you feel now to know?
It's like a
For
weight
certain.
lifted off my shoulder. I mean, the pain of not being able to be there. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure he never has to face, a struggle in life. Blood, sweat, tears, it don't
Please
matter.
do.
Baby will be taken care of.
regardless about how I feel about you, man, please do.
Ms. Herman, you are here to prove that Mr. Houston is the biological father of your 2-year-old son, Corey. You contend the defendant duped you and was living a double life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Houston, you claim that you are not the biological father of Ms. Herman's son and will clear your name when the results are read. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Herman, explain what you mean that Mr. Houston was living a double life.
Mr. Houston was a liar. He was a cheater. He was also a womanizer. And during the time after we had sex, not too long after, I found out he had a wife and children.
Really?
Yes.
How did you find that out?
Your Honor, I like to call this the investigadget stage. That's what I do.
Investigate.
Investigadget. When my woman intuition hits, that's what I do. I investigate.
Okay, and what made your woman's intuition kick in?
So during the time I was pregnant, I had told Mr. Houston that I was pregnant. He said that he would be there for me and my child. After 2 doctor's appointments, he stopped showing up. So I got a little suspicious. So I got my investigation glasses on, and I found out via Facebook that he has a wife and children. And I have the evidence right here, Your Honor.
I'd like to see that. Jerome?
Your Honor, that is a wedding band on his hand.
So you go on Facebook and you see this picture of Mr. Houston and he has a wedding ring on his hand. And so you see the wedding band and then what do?
And then I call him immediately because I was deceived.
You never told her you were married, Mr.
Never
Houston?
has he ever even brought up the fact that he had children. 5.
Oh. Mr. Houston, you never informed her of these very important details?
When I met her as a gentleman. Before anything, before my father, before my dad, before my liar, before my cheater, before any of these things at all. I'm a man first.
Well, you over here doing a Shakespearean play. Tell me what happened. How is it you end up getting this woman pregnant and she finds you on Facebook with a ring on and a family?
Anything I got going on before I met her wasn't her business. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't curious about the extra stuff. I was more curious about getting to know who she was.
So your marriage and your kids and your wife were all extra things?
No, it wasn't extra at all. It was just something that, I didn't communicate with her.
Why?
With her because, I wasn't trying to go in a direction of being with her or I wasn't going to.
But you didn't use protection when you were sleeping with her.
No, you did not.
Did you tell
not.
me?
Don't lie. He did not use a condom, Your Honor. He did not.
Your Honor.
No, the answer is no. Don't
Your
let
Honor.
him lie to you. The answer is no. No, N-O, no.
The
He did
night
not.
that-
No.
Listen, how did you meet Mr. Houston?
I met him at a club. He was very charming and appealing at the time, buying me shots of Patron. That's an expensive drink. He also had a truck with rims on it and with nice beats in it. So at the young age that I am, I'm thinking I'm young and naive. I'm thinking he's got it going on.
When did you two become intimate? That same night?
That same night.
After the club?
He took me home
See,
to
the
his
thing is
house,
this.
and
This
I
woman
went.
right
And
here, she
this
got
is how I
game.
did.
Wait a minute. He took you home to his house. Where was his wife and his kid?
I went through the house. I'm looking under bed sheets. I want to see if there's some stilettos or some thongs under here. I want to make sure. I want to be sure. And when I went through all that stuff, there was no sign of no women or no children in that home.
So which house was this, Mr.
See,
Houston?
the thing is this. I had a homie that just got married. We were celebrating his marriage, I met her during the process. She seemed like she was out of her comfort zone, like she wasn't even supposed to be in this scene.
She wasn't.
Set. She wasn't supposed to be there, you know what I mean? So I approached her. I said, hey, how you doing? We started communicating. She told me her name. I let her know who I was. But
No, you didn't.
No, he
I
didn't.
didn't see
He
the
did,
thing
Your
that-
Honor. Don't let
I
him
didn't
lie
let-
to you. And then when he do that thing with his eyebrows, he's lying.
see, look. See, the thing is
Look,
this.
I'm telling you.
we will not take that testimony as fact. Now that was a lie, but
That-
go ahead.
When I seen
You
that,
introduced
when I
yourself.
introduced myself, it was more of a, how you doing? What you doing in here? Where you from? And it was cool, but the same energy I was transferring, she was giving back. So it's like she made me feel like she was used to doing this all the time. But I was okay with what was going on because I had plans on taking her home at the end of the day.
And which home is this?
I didn't take her to my home,
Oh.
of course, but my buddy, he got married that day.
So it was his home because now he had a new home with his wife.
Exactly.
So this was like his
This
bachelor
was like a
pad.
bachelor pad, you know?
So how long does this relationship go on?
About a month and a half. When I found out I was pregnant, I told Cortez that I was pregnant, and he didn't say anything on the other line of that phone. He said, "Are you for real?" I said, "Yes, I'm for real." Then he promised that he would be there throughout the whole pregnancy, not just 2 doctors.
At what point do you discover that he has a wife? Are you already pregnant?
Yes.
We need to go back, first of all. Okay, the night before I actually even thought that she was pregnant, okay? I went to stay the night with her because, you know, at this time, my kids were asleep, my wife was asleep too, all right? I was up. I was just up. I was full of energy. Went to the bathroom, I called Carice and I asked her, "What you doing?" She answered the phone at 2 a.m. like I expected. She was ready, okay? I wound up leaving, going over there in my car. I went to her house, and once I got there, she always got it laid out. She would have candles here, candles there. She would have it smelling good. And she always didn't have no clothes on. She always had this one little silk thing that hang tight on her butt. You know what I'm trying to say? Like if she do any kind of extra movement, that booty was showing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, long story short, I got over there.
I want details, but I don't know if it's
Too much. It's too much. It's too much.
Mr. Houston, did your wife have any idea you were leaving the house at 2 in the morning and sleeping with another woman?
See, the thing is this, we were already on the verge of going through a divorce. Things wasn't what she expected it to be.
Look at his eyebrows.
Maybe you didn't understand my question. Did your wife know you left the house to go sleep with another woman?
No, she did not.
Okay. So
I wouldn't have let her know that, Sienna.
Jerome, I think I'm ready to speak to Mr. Houston's wife.
Let's do that.
Oh, no, she here?
Miss Houston is joining us today from her hometown. Hello, Miss Houston.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've heard the testimony thus far, you hear that Ms. Herman and your now ex-husband were in a relationship, unfortunately, during your marriage.
Right.
How did you find out about Ms. Herman?
The way I discovered that, they were doing whatever was a message came in his phone and it said, when I have the baby, I want to move in with you. So I'm looking like, who the hell is this? And what is she talking about? And I'm like, so somebody is pregnant by you? Like, I'm trying to get answers. And he like playing dumb, wouldn't tell me the truth about it.
You just
Eventually I end up calling the number and I talked to her.
Oh, you did? You had a conversation?
Yeah. And I explained to her who I was, asked her what was her position and was she really pregnant by him? Was she sure it was his baby, And she was like, yeah, he's the only person I've been with. That's, he said he's going to be there for me and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, so you're pregnant. I'm pregnant too. So how does that work?
I thought you said the marriage wasn't what you all both expected and you all were on your way to getting a divorce.
See, I'm in the business of making babies, I have every reason to extend my bloodline. Let me let you know, when I was 10 years old, I lost my superhero, my father, And once I seen my baby, it was really like a replacement because I could see all my dad's features in my child.
You are basically expressing that you experienced an emotional trauma.
Yeah,
losing your father.
Exactly.
And you thought by making more children,
I'll be connected with my father.
You will be connecting with your father. At the end of the day, you do have to understand that when you bring children into the world with paternity questions, that's not being a superhero. That's not being the kind of father you say you lost.
I met her at the club. I took her home that night. I had no intentions on getting her pregnant.
But you did not use protection, did you?
I didn't know this woman from
He's
Timbuktu.
lying.
I didn't know her
he
from
did
Timbuktu.
not use protection.
Young Gunga, I didn't know this woman. I didn't know her
He
at
must
all.
be talking about one of the other girls, because it wasn't me. I don't like condoms, so I don't use condoms.
Exactly, and I want you to know this.
I'm allergic to latex, so I can use non-latex condoms.
Why people keep saying they're allergic to latex, but not allergic to sex?
This woman tried to trap me.
I mean, it's like
sex at all. You're right.
If you allergic to latex, then you don't need to be having no sex.
When he first brought out the condom, I said, "Is it a no-latex condom?" He told me, "No, it's latex." I said, "I can't use that." I said, "We better off not." No, never mind. I'll just do it anyway.
No, that's not true.
I'll just do it anyway.
I didn't know this woman at all.
Instead of going to get a no-latex
Yana.
condom, I'll just do it anyway. But it wasn't your intent to get me pregnant.
Miss Houston, at the end of the day, you're at
Why you
home.
like
You
that?
have no idea all this is going on.
None whatsoever. Nope. And he wouldn't be honest about nothing. Like, you know, I gave him plenty of opportunity to, like, just be real. You know, like, we all mess up, we all make mistakes, whatever. But at the same time, like, how do you expect me to be in a relationship with you if I can't trust you to, you know, be honest with me? Like,
Miss Houston, at the end of the day, you're at home pregnant by your husband while he's out impregnating his mistress.
yep.
Shit wasn't that. It's like eating chicken every day. I wanted something else. It had nothing to do with my wife.
Can you please know when to stop when you're ahead?
These women are trying.
I accepted your baby-making business story because I knew you didn't have the proper words to explain what you were feeling. But you're not gonna sit up in this courtroom and talk about women, beautiful women, are equivalent to some chicken.
Well, that's not what
No,
I'm saying.
you're not gonna do that.
I understand.
So now we need to rephrase.
Okay, then.
So now, Ms. Herman, Mr. Houston testified that he wants to be a dad. Has he been a dad to Corey?
No. He doesn't do anything for Corey at all.
So I didn't buy nothing.
He doesn't do anything for Corey at
This
all.
woman is full of lies today. I don't know why.
Can you show you a receipt?
What have you done?
I made sure that I had his first pair of shoes. I got him some booties. I did everything that I was supposed to do as far as making sure he had car seats. I did all those things. Of course, she ain't gonna give me no credit today.
I'm not, because he came to the baby shower and he dropped off 1 pack of diapers.
That's not true. I didn't even go to the baby shower. See?
Your Honor, I can't build a family with somebody that's already got a family. How am I gonna do that?
It's the same
How does
woman
that work?
shows up to my house with hickeys on her neck. Actually, it wasn't my house again. It was one of my
But I'm not his
house.
wife.
Is that why you doubt that you're Corey's father?
That's what I'm trying to let you know. I never tried to make a baby with her. All my other kids, they were intentional. I did try to create this, you know what I'm trying to say?
Listen, if pregnancy required intention, a lot of us wouldn't be in this room right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Pregnancy, let me explain something to you. Pregnancy does not require intention. You don't have to intend to impregnate anyone.
But the thing is this. One night, me laying in her bed, her phone vibrating in the bed. Now, mind you, it's 2 a.m., okay? Who was this text messages coming through 2 a.m.? You know what she said? Don't worry about it.
On my life.
You know what I did when she told me don't worry about it? Because I gave her my time. I left my home to come check on her, you know?
It's a privilege for her.
You did.
wasn't-
Thank you.
It actually was
that
a
you left
privilege.
your wife. I'm second choice. Thank you. I
See, the thing
appreciate
is,
it.
it wasn't second choice.
Mr. Houston, you are walking a tightrope on my last nerve right now.
Yana, if she opened the door when I needed to open the door, what makes you think I'm sure she did this already. She had plenty of men over there. I mean, she had hickeys
So
over there.
that's my next question. Ms. Herman, I must ask you, were you entertaining, having sex with any other men during the time you also were having sex with Mr. Houston?
Not during the time I was having sex with Mr. Houston. No.
She was. I know she was.
So now you're raising Corey all on your own?
I've been raising Corey by myself
for 2 years, almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years, yeah.
Yana, ask her this. Why would she want to make him my child? Why would she want to give me
I don't want to.
She know I got kids.
Your Honor, I don't want to make him nothing.
Right.
If he wasn't the father, I promise to God, I'll do the Holy Ghost dance all around this courtroom.
So you telling me there's no way that nobody else could be?
If it was, I promise to God. If it's not, you gonna see.
And I love all my kids, but this one, he is not my child. You know, all my kids got the same duck lip. They got the same pointy nose like me. We all got the same thick eyebrows. Corey have a smush nose. You know, his face looks nothing like mine or my father's or my other kids.
So, Ms. Herman, tell me what you want after today's results.
I just want him to step up and be a man, like he says he is, a man before anything. That's all I want him to do.
For Corey?
For Corey.
All right, I have the results for you. Jerome?
Here you go, Your Honor.
Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Herman versus Houston, when it comes to 2-year-old Corey Herman, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Houston, you are not the father.
Yes! Thank you, Jesus. I ain't gotta talk to this man not no more.
So you just did all this.
I don't wanna hear nothing else you got to
what?
say.
It's
I'm
cool,
free.
you know?
Yep.
Miss Herman, I asked you,
Who came to the
was
bed?
there any other man?
When we were sleeping together, we were sleeping together. I slept with somebody
I'm a little
prior.
tight right now.
So you're saying once you met Mr. Houston, you only slept with him, what the truth is you were already pregnant.
It's a little
I'm
relief,
assuming
though.
so.
Do
yeah.
you know who your child's father is?
Yeah,
It ain't me.
Does he want to be in Corey's life?
I doubt it.
Hey, look, you now have ruined your family behind a relationship that didn't even produce a child ultimately.
Yana, I can't feel no worse than I already feel, okay?